So, hi everyone, I'm Madhav and here's my friend Harsh. So, we are going to conduct a webinar today on Android application development. So, today's webinar will be focused on the basics of Android development. And the speaker is, of course, my friend Harsh, and he'll be taking over from here.
So let's start with Android app development basics. Okay. So what you're going to be learning in this webinar. So start with one basic project structure of Android. How will you will go to see Java structure files, classes, manifest files, resources of the project. How you navigate from one activity to another. And second thing you will be working on, you will be shown how to work with UIs, connect with UIs, and finally how to run the app, your emulator, how to run on physical device. So let's start it. Get started. So our first step, how to install Android Studio in your PC or laptop. So let's start. For before installing Android Studio, you need Java JDK file. That is Java development kit. So you can check. So basically, you can check is the Java JDK is present in your laptop or PC, or which version it is. So for Windows, you can check using Java version. You can type Java. You can open CMD and type Java version. So and you can check. See in this pic, you can see Java version 9.0.1. It's showing my version is 1.9. So if you get a similar message, then JDK is installed. For Ubuntu people, you can directly uh, go and search on cells Java version, type Java version, and check. If you get a similar message, then yes, it gets installed. JDK is there. So next step, if you don't have JDK, it's if it's showing Java version showing error message, not the undefined message, then you can go to this link, www.oracle.com technet technetwork.java. This link. When installing the Android Studio version, you might notice that a certain component is missing from this screen. I will provide the link in description or comment box where to install Android Studio. Okay. So basically, when you will be installing Android Studio, you may find this problem. A certain component is missing. Right. Then if showing a similar kind of problem, then you have to work in a similar way. And showing the Android SDK component is missing, don't believe, okay, you have to go to check if it's showing in a similar way, you have to go to configure SDK manager, add and then you have to add additional configuration Android Studio. You have to configure some of the things, and if it's not showing similar kind of thing, then you can go work with Android Studio. Okay. uh, the thing is, you have to go preferences Android SDK, then you have to set the preferences. You have for setting preferences, you have to go preferences, then appearance. Yeah, another tab you have appearance, then again click system settings, then you have to go for Android SDK, and there you have to install the SDK. Okay. So let next go to next slide. Then if everything works fine, you will get a similar kind of window. You will like, you have to start your Android Studio. Then you have to create a project. You will find there is an option for creating a project. Then you will find first this tab. You have to add your application name, company domain. See, your API or your app can be identified by your company domain. It's a unique name. It should be unique. Okay. So you have to add your project location. It will be default your given project location. But if you want to change, you can change from here. Then next, go to next. Again, you find this tab, which is like you have to set your minimum SDK version, minimum. So you can go like setting 15, 16, whatever you want, but I prefer to set 16. So let's go to next one. Again, you will find, if you go to next, again, you will find a similar kind of tab where you have to just select which activity you want to choose. There will be basic activity. Basic activity, you had a button and you can go, and you had a back button also. In empty activity, there is an empty activity, bottom navigation activity. There is a navigation in bottom of that activity. Then navigation drawer activity which Gmail uses. Then you will find add tab, then maps, then login. But go with empty activity. Okay, let's move next. Then if you everything works fine, you will see this window with this line of code, which is already, which will be already, some codes would be there. So let's start. Okay. So if you see left side of this screen, you will find there is a project structures, captures. So if you click on project structures, it will show the structure of your project. Here you can find app, Memphis, Java, main activity, then drawable layout, mid maps, values. Then you will find build Gradle files this side on the left side. And again, this is the editor window where you can type your code, Java files. Then you have this navigation menu where you had menu for run your app, debugging, refactor, tools, windows, and help. So basically, let's come to our code. See, every we have in our project structure, we have app. Inside app we had Memphis, Java, and inside Java there is a java.my application, which I set my name, domain name, which I used to say it's every company unique domain name you have to provide. And inside that package name, and that is actually my package name, your app name plus your company domain, that is your will be your package name. And inside your package name, there, that particular class will be there. This is called Java classes. Okay. Here you have to write your Java code exactly. Then you have output for test applications which provide output for your APKs. Then again you have resources, then drawable file. In drawable you can add images. If a particular app is showing some images or similar kind of some if animations or something, then it should be put in drawable file. If you are using a layout, a kind of UI, it should be in layout file. Mid map, again you can put your app images. It should be in mid map. And values, in values you can put all your strings, colors of your app, then again dimension of your app, buttons, it should be put in value. And let's come to our code. See, if you see our code, it's showing some import for statements. Then again, public class, main activity, extend app, compact activity. Exactly, you had a question, what is exactly app compact activity? Okay, so let's talk about it. What is exactly app compact activity, and what exactly this on create bundle saved instance state and all. See, basically, app. If you see, if you open Facebook at a time, the main UI. If you see your profile activity, it's an activity, and every activity is just a base activity of all your all your Java classes. In fact, your app compact activity is derived. If you know inheritance, then you exactly know what I'm going to tell. So app compact activity will be the derived class of your activity. And this, why we need to extend this app compact activities, because we need to work with something called V7 support library, app compact V7 support library, which will help to get your action bar and all stuffs, your design things. If we want to work with fragments, again I will tell you what exactly fragments means. But if you we want to work with fragments, then we need something called fragment activity. If you want to work only with activity, then we can use activity. And activity is the parent class of all these classes, this activity like app compact activity, fragment activity. So You come with what is exactly app compact activity. Let's tell you what exactly bundle and saved instant states mean. See, whenever you are using a Facebook app, then you had a call, and sudden there is an interrupt between the apps, and you just go through your call, and then you exactly what's happening backside of that app. There is a stack. Once that particular app is running, that stack that the it's come out of your stack. It's called pop. If you know the DSS things, it's like push and pop thing. Okay, so it will come out of your stack. If a particular app you are using, then suddenly you had a call, then that particular app will be go inside your particular stack. Then again, your phone call will be out of your stack. And again, if you want to resume, again get the restate of your app, then again it get out of your stack and you can use it. Exactly, it works on the back end like this. So let's come to how it works exactly. uh, so one more thing we had on create. Inside on create, it's called saved instant state. It exactly save the particular instance of that app. Exactly, like if you certain interrupt is there and your app gets stopped, again you have to restart, resume it. So you need a particular instant state to be saved. This works. This is exactly the meaning of this saved instance state. And there is a bundle is exactly an object which is passed as a parameter to on create, and this bundle is reference, and this saved instance state is reference to that bundle object. So you had some clear idea about how this code works exactly. Okay, then again, second thing, you have to super we need to get the parent method. If you want to override your parent method, then we need something called super. Then we have to super dot on create saved instance state. We have to again save the instance state of that particular app. Then again, we had one more line of code, set content view. We have to get the content. See, resource. If you see the UI of your app, in web things we have HTML for you, HTML CSS for designing thing. And if you go to backend things, like how exactly works in backend part, so we had Node.js, PHP and all. So but in this Java, in this app development, we had the functional thing is will be on Java, and your UI will be on XML. So exactly how it works, we need to set the particular content view from that particular XML file we made as a resources. So for that particular thing, we set the content view as r dot layout. Layout will be this r will be a particular file which would be generated automatically by Android Studio. You don't need to generate this particular r Java file. It's the Java file. Okay, r dot layout. Layout will be here. It will be mapped here. Okay, then again it's showing activity dot main, which would be inside this our layout file. So you had some basic idea how it works. So let's come to our what activities exactly is. An activity, see, if you are being a developer, exactly, if Android developer exactly stuck to particular concept is this activities. An activity is the so let's talk about activity. An activity is the entry point for interacting with users. Okay, it's like whatever the UI, whatever the thing, activity makes it functional. If you see, if you take example of Facebook, this is an activity, this notification is an activity, and this thing is an activity. And again, activity after activity, there's a small sub activity which we will talk later about. Okay, so let's talk more on activities, how to work with activities. So basically, before working before activities, we need to take two things in mind. First, if we mention a particular activity in our Java file or in our app, so we need to mention before running our app, we need to mention in that particular manifest file. See, this particular splash activity code has been mentioned. You can mention like this. Okay, by using, you can declare file adding an activity will be used for adding your activity file, and it should be inside application tag. It's just like simple, if you have had some knowledge of HTML, XML and HTML are like similar kind. Okay, so you can see this activity must be inside our application, this activity. Okay, let's come second thing, manage activity life cycle properly. How you can manage your activity life cycle. So let's come to second thing. To create an Android activity, we need to implement it as a subclass, which I was telling you, as a subclass of activity class. This activity class is a part of Android API classes. Exactly, this activity is the parent class of all the activity of all your Java classes, and it's one of the important thing which you need to understand before you want to go to Android app development. Activity is the parent class of all your activities. In fact, your app compact activity will be the derived class, your child class of your activity class. Let's come. So there are some method which you need to implement in your code, for your coding structure. Okay, so let's come to your coding structure. We had some methods like on create. It's a callback method, right? So once an activity is launched, if you see this image, once an activity is launched, it's like on create. First you would be, you have to start with on create. Okay, then you have to come with on start, then you have to go for on resume, then activity running state, then on pause, on stop, on destroy. Then if you see the code, then we use something like on create. On create will be like whenever this app is going to start, this on create will be fired, and on create will be fired, and everything you coded there, you want to get the to show something UI components functionality, you have to write inside your on create method. You have to get your content inside your on create method, and after that on create, on start will be called. After that on create, on start will be called, and if few after few seconds of getting called on start, on resume, this on resume is the exactly the state in which app interacts with the user. This is the state which in which the app interacts with us. Exactly, first it's called on create, then on start, then on resume. Okay, so then we have again a method called on pause. Uh, if another activity comes into foreground, if we go navigate to another activity, then previous activity is being paused, and we return to a new activity, and again that activity on create started. Okay, then again on start, on resume, and if that particular activity is not come into existence, like no longer visible to the user, it's come to on stop state. Okay, so a particular user can navigate to, if a particular user just navigate to another activity and it's get on stop, he can directly start to on create, on restart, and he can go to on start method. Again, at last, the system invokes the destroy call, on destroy callback before the activity is being destroyed. Okay, so before going to code, we need to keep these methods in mind. Then we have to, this is exactly the architect structure callback functions which we use in Android app development. So let's come to intent. So what exactly intent is? So intent is exact. We use intents for three purposes. Exactly intents. If you want to deliver some message, start a new activity, start a service, we use intent, right? See, suppose we had example here. If you see Instagram, if there are some grid layout, this layout is exactly called grid layout. There are some small pics, and if you click on particular pic, it will open in a new activity with this data. Exactly how it works, it's working with the help of something called intent. Okay, a intent is again used to start a service delivering a broadcast message. So see how to code for intent. It's easy, it's pretty easy. If you want to start any activity, it's simple. Start activity. You have to just give start activity. Then you have to pass something called new intent. New, exactly how it works. See in this code, intent I equals to new intent. Something you have to pass. If you are on phone activity, you you have to convert and you want to go to another activity. If you are in phone activity, you have to go to another activity, that is registered activity. So you have to write something like this, phone activity dot this, and you have to navigate to another activity. Then same thing working here, you have to pass this intent object here, and new intent, exactly instantiation you have to pass here, new intent phone activity dot this, and we have to go navigate to register activity. And one more thing, why I'm using finish here, finish exactly means if you see some app you can navigate to another activity, and if you press back it will go back. And if some app you find you can navigate to one activity, and if you want to move back, it won't be able to move back. So see, if you see login screen, once you get logged in, it won't move back to your again same adding your phone number login thing. So it can be done using finish. Finish exactly destroy every previous things. Okay. So again, if you one more thing intent can be used if you want to pass a particular thing to another activity. See here I'm passing this phone number. So for that particular thing, you have to pass a bundle. Again, bundle comes into picture. Like bundle is an object where you can put all your data you want to pass, and then put your particular bundle object to your string, a particular extra thing. So how it works, first you have to put your string that I am passing my phone number, exactly this phone activities, phone authentication service. So I'm using Firebase, it's one of my project code. So I'm using Firebase here, so I'm passing this phone number to our next activity. And this can be done using start activity, which I pass my intent I here. Keep it mind, you have to pass your start activity this I here. And again, if you don't want to again make the user move back, if you don't want to make the user move back, then you can use finish. And if you want user move back, you don't need to use finish thing. Okay. Again, as what is exactly a service in Android? Okay, a service is a component that perform operation in background without a user interface. Exactly, service don't have a interface. It won't have a user interface. It's just a background. Whatever background task is there, it's just we called it a service. Okay, start service. A broadcast. What exactly broadcast means? A broadcast is a message that any app can receive. We can use send a broadcast to any app to your app by two ways: send broadcast. One more method is there, send ordered broadcast. Okay, move to next. One more thing, in this intent is of two types: implicit intent and explicit intent. First, explicit intent is used to launch something in your own app. It won't allow you to launch something in other app. And intent will be you can use your browser. See, you can open a link in Facebook using your browser. Yeah, it exactly works with your they are using exactly implicit intent there. Okay, so this is the main difference between implicit and explicit. In explicit, you won't be able to use other app. Only it will run on your own app. In implicit, you can use other apps too for running a particular task or action. Okay, so what exactly layout? Here comes layout view into picture. So what exactly layout? A view is a rectangle on the screen that shows some content. That content will be a button, image, text view, anything like radio buttons, uh, anything. Exactly, it's an UI. Okay, whatever you makes buttons and all, and the visual views make up of what we call the layout of the screen. Exactly, these views all come if we combine all the views, and we call it the layout of our screen. Creating a layout, how we can create a layout? Declaring the UI elements in our XML, which I earlier told, we have to create all the UI elements in our XML, instantiating layout elements at the runtime. Okay, so for creating this layout in Android, we have something like this panel, similar panel, and one in app development, we had one feature like we can drag. We have a drag and drop option. We can just drag this button from here to this place. Toggle menus. We can easy. It's easy thing. We don't need to code. We can easily drag and drop. But if you want to code something, see, this particular thing is exactly similar to your, if you use Facebook and all, you see there is a comment option in there, you with username and your name and this loading comment and all. So exactly this is a layout for that particular thing. Okay. And how it works, it's this particular thing is a constant layout, which I will be telling you in next slide. Okay. This particular thing is a constant layout. It is particularly constrained, arranged in parallelly, constrained in this particular manner. Okay. See, you can see constant layout, comment image, it's embedded inside it. Okay, if you want to code, instead of using drag and drop, you can directly put your code. We have two options: drag and drop, and this writing your XML code. You can directly go there and type your code. Okay. Again, layout view groups. What exactly view groups is? View groups are something in which views are embedded. Okay. See, in which all views are embedded. So we have three types of view groups: constant layout, linear layout, and relative layout. First, if you go to constant layout, it is constantly arranged. You can see it is arranged to every other reference, if you see, and basically this constant layout is one of my favorite layout, and it's basically used for complex layout, not for simple one. If you want to go for a simple layout, you can use linear layout. It's like arranging in single vertical rows or columns. Okay, either you can arrange horizontal or vertical. Okay, for arranging single horizontal or vertical row, we use linear layout. And relative, from name it's clear. It's like we are arranging relative to other views, other button. If you are adding button, then it will be arranged relative to other button. Okay, child objects related to each other. Okay, so now come to input control. What exactly input control means? In input control, we have these things: buttons, edit text, text fields, text views, all text fields, radio buttons, and all check boxes. These all things comes under input control, where you toggle button, where you take data from user, you get data from user. Okay. So button works it's a simpler. It's like something like, if you see HTML, if you use HTML, it's similar. XML and HTML are approx similar. If button, then Android. One more thing, in every code you have to pass something called ID, which you will be using in your particular Java code. So don't miss to keep this don't please don't miss to keep this ID in your code. Okay, then again, you in this layout you have to, again, one more thing: Android dot on click send message. You can directly pass your active your method here. If your button is going to click, then it particularly operate this send message. Then you can particularly add this send message to your button on click. You don't need to write button on click listener and all in your code. You can directly pass send message. It's great features of Android. So one more thing, a text field. If you see text field, we have two options: edit text. Edit text had exactly two options. First thing is, you can edit your name and all, adding your name. Second thing is auto complete text view. If you use something like Uber and Ola, okay, they had, if you add something in map, or Google Map, okay, if you write some location there, then it will automatically suggest you some of the places. What exactly? So it's called autocomplete text view. That particular thing in Android is called autocomplete text view. Let's come to string. It's string. What exactly string in this string.xml means in Android? It's exactly a file. This your app name will be inside your string.xml file. You can put your string.xml file. One more features you can, if you are already you are making an Android app, or you are familiar with this thing, then you heard of something this app can work, some of the apps working in three different languages, or you can switch to different languages. It How they can achieve this particular thing with the using help of this string.xml. They can embed all the three languages. You can write something string name, your app name, and then you can write in something like French language, or I had written English on my application. You can write in French, Arabics, anything. Okay. So if for using this thing string.xml, you need to pass a resource, because string is a resource in your Android. Okay, you have to pass something, then your string name, app name, then my application. Okay. So here let's come where this string.xml exists. It's inside value. First come to resources. All your resources file, like your buttons, views, images, animations, will be inside resources. And inside resources, there would be layout, drawable, mid map, values. And inside this value, you will find color, which where you can set your color of your app, styles for your app, and strings. Here you can set the string. So let's move next move. So what exactly butter knife in Android means? Butter knife versus find view by ID. In Android application, we see if we had something 5 to 10 text views and 10 buttons, we have to write something like this: one text view, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again we have to mention ID. This is exact pretty hectic, like or exactly it's called it's like why we need to write such a huge code. Okay, it's there maybe something would be there, a library would be there which really solve your problem. So there is a library which something called butter knife, which solves this problem. Okay, so if you are using, see this code, this long code, and if you are using butter knife, here is a butter knife came to rescue us. So how we use butter knife? Butter knife is a view injection library. It creates bind with the component, and then we use notation to reference the component. So we don't make use of find view by ID and method anymore. So how it works? So we are like free of using this find view by ID. Exactly, it's called annotation in Java. At the rate view bind view, it's called annotation. And this thing came into picture. This part you can directly add this find view, this text view, instead of adding find view by ID. The code will this particular code will be look like something like this. And again you have to add butter knife dot bind. You have to bind, it's binding your particular all your data in particular butter knife library. Please don't forget this thing, this line. Okay. So what are the advantages? Why you use butter knife instead of find view by ID? It's making our code simple. Second thing is bind implementation, easy readable code. Okay, code we can read our code easily. Exactly. To use butter knife, we need to do two things. We have to compile a library, something called com dot this line dot butter knife 8.6.0, and again annotation processor we have to write. These two lines you can find on internet. It's not a big deal. You don't need to remember these two things. Okay. Instead in new versions of Android like 3.0.1, you instead of compile, if you come write compile there, you will get an error. It's compile has been replaced by implementation. So keep in mind, this compile has been replaced by implementation in Android 3.0.1. So again, if you want to know about more about butter knife, go you can go to this particular link. Okay. So let's come what is exactly dependency, what is exactly build.gradle. So if we see if in like we do, if particular library we are importing, if particular resources we are importing, then we need to set it in our dependency. So it's see how this Gradle is exactly working. uh, it's like first thing we have to compile SDK version. Okay, so what is our compilation SDK version? Then minimum SDK version. One more thing, if you are keeping your minimum SDK version 16 and you are testing your app below 16 APK label, then it will be crashed. It won't be able to run. Okay, so be sure which API label you are SDK version you are writing and in which SDK version you are testing. Okay, and target SDK version. It would be the highest in which you are targeting highest SDK version. Okay, and this compile SDK version and your emulator SDK version should be same. So keep these two things in mind. Okay, and then this dependency come into picture. If let's see how it works. See, this particular I'm importing this card view, so I'm writing just implementation form support card view v7 27.1.1, and this v7 support library, exactly, it's a part of your app compact activities. That is the reason you need to extend your app compact activity. Again, we have a recycler view support custom tab design. We need to implement it or compile before Android 3.0.1. We need to compile, and in Android 3.0.1 we need to implementation. Okay, so this is all about how we fix dependencies. So let's move on. This what exactly this? Whenever this Gradle file you write Gradle file, it need to be get synced. Okay. Then when this particular file is get synced, it will search for this Java Center. It will again move to your next build.gradle and it will check for your JCenter library, and then it will come back to this particular thing, and it will come back to your particular implementation, and it will check, yeah, this library is present in that particular app, so it will go ahead, and your file will be get synced. If any error will be there in your Gradle sync or something, library these things, or any spelling error or something, so it will directly show you error, and it will show this file could not be synced, and you will be getting an red marks all over your codes. Okay, again, let's come to permission. What exactly permission in is an Android thing? Exactly, if you see, if you install some app from your Play Store, it will show there are some permission asking for permissions, like this app is using location, this app is using internet, this app is using your internal memory and particular thing. So we set in this thing can be set into your manifest file, and you can set this particular thing using user permission. You have to ask the user for a permission. Keep this particular internet should be on, this particular location should be on. So we did this by using these things: user permission, Android name, this particular permission, Android dot permission dot internet for internet, user permission, Android name for Android permission, Android dot permission, read external storage. This helps to app to read this that particular storage. Again, it don't have the right option. If you want to, it will only able to read. If you want to write that particular file inside your app, then we need to again write a code for a line of code for write or external storage. So let's come how to run the app in your Android thing. So basically, for running your app, if you see this up of your Android Studio, you see file, edit, view, navigate, code, analyze, refactor, build, run, tools, VCS, Windows help. Then first thing you have to click on build, then APK. You have to go for build APK file. Then you can directly generate your APK. It will ask for a location where you want to provide your APK. So you can directly put your APK there. You will get your APK. Just download it to your mobile and check your app. If everything works fine, if everything works fine, the app won't be crash. If app crashes, then check your this logcat. Okay, click on run it. Again, we have two options to run. If you This exactly a pretty hectic process installing this APK, again checking your mobile, again you do these things. So instead of this, you can do one more thing. It's called AVD. AVD. It's you can run it will if you go for run, just go for run. Then again you will find a list of your it will show run app. Again you will find a list of emulator, Android emulator, where you can run your app. Okay, if if Android emulator is already installed your Android thing, then you can go soon. If no Android emulator is installed to your Android Studio, you should install it first. You can install any of your Android emulator which is compatible with your PC. Exactly, this Android emulator is very heavy software. It's like it if you go for higher versions, it needs exactly 8 GB of RAM space. So keep it in mind. So just install lower version of emulator. Okay, and you can go again. You have hardware option is also there in your Android emulator. You can go check your app in your hardware device, but for that particular thing you have to configure your developer option kit. Okay, so basically, this is all about dealing with Android Studio, basics with Android Studio. Further, I will tell you more in our next sessions. We will be telling you on Android Studio. I will be showing you whatever things today I will tell. I will show you in practical things, how it works, how to code, what is the best practices, and I will be teaching you how to make an Instagram like app or Tinder like app or whatever you want. Just mention in comment whatever you want, particular thing. Again, the thing is ki if someone who is coming to our session and don't know Java, he can mention I don't know Java, I want to learn Java. So we can plan how to we will plan another session for him. And again, one more thing I will be teaching, which is the coolest part of this Android thing: how to connect your Android app with AWS servers, AWS cloud, or Google Cloud. Exactly, I am working with this Google Cloud thing. Okay, so we will go on.
All right,
Okay.
thanks a lot, Harsh. We had a wonderful session today. And of course, as you said, we'll be planning a lot of workshops and webinars right in the future, in the near future. And apart from Android development, also, if you have any ideas, if you need any guidance on any
Guidance.
topic, please do tell us in the comment section. Blockchain, AI, machine learning,
We are
or
planning
anything.